Let me know.
That's me, I'm sorry.
Oops.
I believe we're ready, yes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. Don Krieger, Kim Ports Parsons, here joining me, Sandy Yannone, your host today for our Cultivating Voices live poetry. Poets focus on the theme of emergence. Well, today, if you are joining us on Sunday, is of course Easter Sunday, and we are in the very fertile constellation of sacred celebrations of the emergence and connections between Passover, Easter, Ramadan. And so I would love to acknowledge those of you who are celebrating and acknowledging the various observances. And again, I'm very glad to have you all today with us for this 1 hour special Poets Focus on the theme of emergence. Each of our readers today will read up to one poem up to 3 minutes, and on that theme, which is very, as I like to say, prismatic, a prismatic theme, emergence. Well, I also, before we get started, want to acknowledge that there are, so many ways to share poetry. You have so many options, so many readings out there, and we're always excited to welcome our Cultivating Voices Live poetry members to join us on this weekly Sunday ritual that we've established over these past 2 years. I'm very, very grateful for your presence. And of course, I'm looking forward to hearing all the poetry. And I would like to also thank last week's readers that we had in our incredible new book showcase, where we were able to hear the poetry of Andrea Deacon, Margot Taft-Stever, Mervyn Taylor, and Susanna H. Case. If you were not able to be with us live or listen yet to that reading, I highly recommend going over to our Cultivating Voices live poetry page on Facebook or to our YouTube channel and give a listen to that reading. I was joining you all from Portland, Oregon last week on location. It was great fun to host the reading in a different city, a different location, and I highly recommend the reading. And of course, this continues to be Poetry Month, and it's been so exciting to see all the events worldwide celebrating poetry in this month of April, this emergent month of April. So there are so many great readings coming up still left as we are, just a little over halfway through the month of April. So please do check out our Facebook page to see all the festivals and poetry events coming up, continuing in this month of April. And of course, look forward always to having you join us here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Well, again, finally, I will just remind you all that we're here for the live open mic. It's the bread and butter of what we do here, the live readings. And so why not, let's get started and hear these emergent poems. Really excited to hear from right now we have 14 folks reading, and as I mentioned, that'll be one poem a piece, up to 3 minutes. And it's a great lineup that we have today. And again, thank you so much for coming. Our first reader today, and I will, as I try to do, but it's very hard for me, as you all know, I will try to limit my commentary in between the poems because we want to just hear the poems. And today, first, we will hear from Scott Norman Rosenthal, followed by Lenora Good. Welcome, Scott. I'm glad you're here with us today.
Thank you. I am going to do this old one, even though a lot of people here have heard it, but it is so specifically an emergence exposition. So, The Malingerer Goes to the Movies, for Colin Kempner and for Judith Wright. You're sitting there, it's getting harder to breathe. Seems like a little man, like a gnome, has crept up the back of your seat and dropped a net into your head, over your brain. You glance at the woman sitting next to you and she isn't there. You turn back to the screen and it seems unreal, like a bad film. Are you in a theater at all? Are you in a room filled with water? Are there any people here? Show's over. You're out in the parking lot, wondering how to get home. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, for starting us off today on our theme of emergence. It's very prismatic, has so many facets to it, and I really appreciate you starting us off today. Be well during the week. Be well. Our next reader is Lenora Good, followed by Yeva Johnson. Welcome.
Oh, am I there? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're up. We can hear you
Okay.
perfectly.
It just went all kind of dead to me and I wasn't sure what went on. My poem is very short and it's an emergent poem in as much as it's a new take on a very old story. Flight to Heaven, after Carol Ann Duffy's Mrs. Icarus. I stood on the cliff's edge, looked away from the limitless ocean, watched my intelligent, strong husband run, extend his arms as a bird would soar. Those great waxed wings lifted him toward heaven. The wax melted. He told me it would. Only his body fell to earth. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lenora, for sharing
You're so welcome.
program today. I do love it, Kim, when we do these. I always forget how much I just love these, you know, the carnivalesque nature of the one poem and what happens when we do that. So I'm looking forward next to hearing from Yeva Johnson. Welcome, Yeva. And then we will hear from Harvey Soss.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's a little last minute, but I think I'm like, yes, emergence. As I do with most of my poems, I just have a little bit of music to go with the poetry. This is called Welcome to the Gender Playground, with gratitude to Danny Ryu. The day I discovered a person could choose more than one pronoun, the world expanded in multiple directions, and my panda love found a better place to call home. The radical magnet, both drawn to and attracting the feminine in every person I met, that feminine, the nip to the cat within, romping untamed, but always seen. The dolphin swimmer carried the queer lesbian who held hands with the they them of me on her back, and we all smiled free in the sun. When they called me them, I felt so warm inside that ice cream didn't stand a chance because I became a femme with a scoop of neutral on top, reaffirming my inclination as a child to choose the gender that, at that time, could wear dresses and pants as the one I liked the best. And when they called me a gay man in a lesbian's body, I let it go because the gay man in me was so turned on by those scenes in Moonlight. One black man reaching, touching, loving another. Even my gorilla philosopher poet, usually reticent to share, burned up every time we watched it. And old as I am, I learned to repurpose queer, hold the word in my mouth with pride, let shame dribble out the sides to the pavement so that I could become the butch in blossom, or the swirl mixed in with everything good, the androgynous of fun expressions. When I took time off from being the girly girl inside the man who could not share his name, this butterfly post chrysalis, this bug under the tip of your shoe, I discovered I'm the yes and gender. Look out, it's me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeva. Folks, we are here today hearing poetry on the theme of emergence, all the different ways one can interpret. And thank you so much for that powerful offering, Yeva. Brings a very important perspective to, and a personal one, to the idea of emergence. Well, next we will hear from Harvey Soss, followed by Marcia Karp.
Okay, can you hear me?
I hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, well,
Welcome.
unlike our last reader, they took my clarinet away from me when they kicked me out of the high school band. So there will be no musical accompaniment. Every year around this time, Manischewitz wine and chocolate-covered macaroons reemerge on store shelves to disappear several days later. So I thought I'd do a Seder poem. It references a Seder song called Dayenu, which seemingly has endless verses, and essentially which translate, at least roughly, to it's sufficient, it should suffice. Essentially, those engaged in prayer around the Seder table, telling God that they have enough, they don't really need anything more. This is called Celebrating Passover in a Year when we weren't passed over. Every second seat is left vacant. The wine glass for Elijah carefully wiped down with Clorox before being locked away in a break front. Even the more observant among us, spaced in odd lots around the Seder table, maintain a social distance equal or almost to the anecdotal length of Moses's rod. We wear cloth napkins over mouth and nose, choking on starch smell, voices muffled, Dayenus mumbled into matzo ball soup. Gefilte fish swim in jelly on their plates, probably wishing they were flying fish, and thus able to avoid the knives and forks of we pseudo-orthodox who pray to cut the vaccination line, to be protected as our ancients were, having discovered, some of us too late, that blood on a lintel affords no greater protection than wishing does. In 2021, mothers can no longer predict with confidence future success of firstborn sons. Certain short straws fed into ventilators, demanding as Rumpelstiltskin, will be spun into nothingness. Daenu, and is it time to eat yet? Will we still be here in 2022? Advised that refrigerator trucks choked with dead meat have recently been spotted outside nursing homes, we question our maker, the provenance of our brisket. Elijah, the abstinent prophet, we begged to be present, not having received from him an RSVP in almost 6,000 years. Clearly has chosen to opt out of our ingathering, again, possibly awaiting his booster vaccination shot. He could have shot us a text, an email, some Liberty Bell note adding prophetic reassurance to our Passover song. Daenu, confirming it's enough. It should suffice that the pharaonic charioteers of this plague year will, as in Egypt, fail to catch up to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harvey, for sharing that poem that brings the ritual of the Seder to our table here, that we're on our table of emergence here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Appreciate that poem, and we will move next to Marcia Karp, followed by Julian Matthews. Thanks, Marcia. So good to see you today.
So good to see you too, and everybody. The poem is called Edie. She kept her hands soft, palsied, filled. She shivered, "You will feel better sometime." I did, once, before now. I could leave, she would stay with her hands. Edie played cards and smoked and stroked her freckles into place. I would not learn to play. Death, then death, death, and death came for mine. They dressed me up for burials. Bye, I thought. Bye, bye, bye. They never left me alone. I could not agree with Edie. I would not feel better. Back ward, back room, bye-bye. Someone was a statue. Someone bit her wrist. I waited to go crazy. Someone burned her feet. Time was light and time was dark. I waited. Here came Edie, her hands at the ends of her arms. She hit me. Edie hit me. She did it. Edie's hands, no more cards or cigarettes. Her hands beat deep into my waiting. Someone felt better. Someone went home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcia. Again, everyone, I'm so glad that all of us are here today to share our poems on the theme of emergence. And it's just great to hear the different perspectives and kind of dive into one poem with each of you today. Well, next we'll hear from Julian Matthews, followed by Lesley Traynor. Thanks, Julian. I'm so glad you're here today. And I love your backdrop.
Hello. Thanks for having me. The Unmuted, Easter Sunday, April 17, 2022. Hey, am I audible? Can you hear me? amid the chatter and clamor, the doom gloom in Zoom rooms. Incoming, these meets may be virtual, but this is no game. When explosions are real, there is no do-over, no second life. Take cover. Can you listen to our cries above the rat-a-tat-tat, the din of gunfire, beyond the booms, barooms, and badooms, the whoosh of missiles, the thuds against concrete walls, fire in the hole. We are beneath you, but not buried yet. We are bunkered, but cannot be contained. We are in basements, but cannot be debased. We are muted, but not voiceless. Hey, listen up. Our men's hearts still rumble like tanks. Our women draw breaths like surface-to-air missiles. Our children's tears are bullets in chambers, ready to go off anytime. Are you triggered yet? Do these words still kill? Do they resonate, penetrate, or ricochet? Do you dodge them and me beyond your POV? Our plea is a grenade in your hands. You pull the pin, fling it and shut your ears. You scroll down timelines, swipe left, remain tone deaf. Ignorance is an unexploded ordnance in your backyard. Today, church bells toll louder than air raid sirens. He is resurrected, while in my backyard, lives are detonated. My Easter prayer is for you to look easterly, not elsewhere. Where the sun rises, so too the sun sets. Can you hear my people's cries? We're still here. We're still alive. Please, please unmute me, and unsilence your humanity. Thank you.
I heard you. I heard you. I heard you. Thank you for that poem, Julian Matthews. Well, next, we'll hear from Lesley Traynor, followed by Larry Kerschner. Thank you, Lesley. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Just before lockdown, I was invited to go to Italy and write in a beautiful art gallery, the Pinacoteca di Brera in Milan. And there was some amazing paintings from Carlo Carrà, who was painting in a sanatorium. He had PTSD, and he was trying to find himself. Carlo, day after day, you drag the debris of war into the sanatorium, assemble a form acceptable to others, one a mother may recognize, angle a shard of metal, its bullet hole intact, to form a waist, smaller than before. You search, but as yet no legs, so many lost on the battlefield, no face. For whose would you choose? Yours is long forgotten, that youngster who marched to war. I am Carrà's mannequin, a form rising from scraps of those who walked before, Norse, Irish, Scots. No control, no input into the final creation, assembled, unpicked, stitched. Fabric so faded, its threads only seen in the height of a cheekbone, an iris reflecting a Nordic sky, a rejigged recipe from primordial soup. Ancestors poured their DNA into the stock cube that formed this thrawn woman. And the river that runs deep, long formed, carries the wronged, the oppressed to a safe harbor. Shadows of martyrs sit within these strands, coiled springs, ready for action.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful, everyone. Thank you so much, Lesley. Again, everyone, we are here today hearing poems on the theme of emergence. And again, the variety of how you each are interpreting and bringing that to our consciousness today is quite striking and quite remarkable. And that I'm struck by that idea of the artist in the sanatorium trying to find oneself. If there's the theme of emergence. Amazing. Thank you. Well, next we will be hearing from Larry Kerschner, followed by Kate Wegrzyn. Larry, it's so great to be with you today.
Yeah, the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have three short poems that show the emergence over a 3-day period. They're entitled Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter. So, Good Friday. How many were there on that rise where scourged men met to die, as in some play from Shakespeare? Witnesses of the law stood aside, not considering their shortcomings. Wind whistling by the base of the hill circled in angelic solitude. Thunking sounds of iron nails pounded through wrists and feet, a final destination. One face of a desert god compelled this, taking the last blood of a gentle fool. Dirty words scratched above his head, high on a tree above the rowdy crowd, under a gray sky overflowing with something thousands of years old. He bid all the neighbors goodbye and left, but then nothing got better. The great clock goes round and round. Love's breath is usually pretty quiet, a strange pheromone in your ear, whispering feelings intricate and subtle, urging dance and frisky capering. Soon you will have to take hold of this love. Look at the leash that connects you and wonder. Holy Saturday, Abba, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. The day between the dying and the rising, blessings and horror in the cave by the road, darkness behind the rough-hewn stone, not knowing whether to leave this place or not. Magic of putrefaction just beginning, no longer able to speak even one word, beyond trembling, wrapped in aromatic spices, head down in Sheol, changed from what was before, troubled and forlorn in the land of reverie, a dream to end this day or to begin again. Easter, celebrating, the horizon beckons. Green suddenly breaks free of the soil and rocks, unearthing bodies, unscrambling dark chaos, time running backwards for a bit, shadows cast by the red morning sun. One thought broken comes into sight, rising from the dirt of the planet's floor. Laughs aloud, do not be forever wedded to darkness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. Again, I'm really enjoying the interpretations of the theme and the linkage of over the 3 days. That's really a wonderful way to have a poem move the poem along, but also move us along. Thank you very much. All right, our next reader is Kate Wegrzyn. Welcome, and then we will hear from Billy Brown. Thank you for being here, Kate.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be here. A quick introduction is we've been flooded basement twice and no really running water and washing dishes and pans. And so I've always put a good spin on a trying time for my daughter and her boyfriend and myself. And so when I'm finished with the dishes, I say, let me get ready for the dance of the daffodils, and I dump the dishpan water on the area of the daffodils. Here's my poem. It's a double sonnet. Names echo in refrain. Off the cliffs, eyes cast to the ocean, scallop shells traverse along Camino de Santiago way. Clam shells cracked open on the chest of the otter, naturally clever, floating on its back to dine. Sea of Cortez, harvest food from spiny oyster, a gravitational pull since prehistory, a shell adorned for spiritual significance, found in rich reds, oranges, and the rarest domes, purple. Delphina, Greek for dolphin, the womb of the ocean. Austera strolls the Grecian islands. The hare is her totem, protectress of creatures great and small. Spring, abundancia, exotic birds' nests. Oh, they're filled with a spring array of colorful eggs, adornment of all traversing every view. Singing, singing, I sing Felices Pascuas. Name, echo in refrain. Naming sparks kindness across earth's waters. Off they go, letting you know how this enclave is more picturesque than another. Retrieve into how you feel. One whisper, a lover is bound to discover. Your heart chamber engorged, clandestine poetics rise the tide, ocean waves, a gravitational pull, dream this longing, a feast of your passion, whales deep tone, spring skyward, tail flailing in tribulation, delivery in tones settle deep in your land-locked bones. Off we go, above the bellowing depth, emulating highest attributes, lest we forget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. Thanks for being here, and keep dancing with the daffodils. I hope that you will have some water relief soon.
Thank you.
Well, our next reader is Billy Brown, and be followed by Phil Lynch. We are just about halfway through, a little over halfway through of our hour-long special Poets Focus today on the theme of emergence. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you great. Now you cut out a little bit.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Seen me recently. I have long white hair trimmed in my beard.
Yeah, Billy, you're cutting in and out, just so you know, on my end at least. Anybody else?
Also today, I'm celebrating my daughter's
It's cutting out, huh?
Billy,
you hear me now?
we can hardly hear you about every fifth word. Maybe we could come back to you in another reader. Is there a way to
Yeah.
get closer to your router?
Go ahead.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I can tell that I'm eager to hear Billy's poem, obviously, from the staccato of words that I was able to hear. I'm ready for that poem. We'll come back to Billy when he is a little more situated. So we will move to our lovely friend, Phil Lynch. Great to have you with us this evening. And Phil will be followed by Max Vandersteen.
Thank you very much, Sandy, and everyone. It's lovely to be here. It's a bit of an accident. I decided to check out the Zoom link because it didn't work the last time, and I thought I'd see if it was all okay this evening. So on a whim, I put my name in. So on another whim, I grabbed my little book, and I'm going to read a poem, simple little sonnet about for this time of the year, really, and it's called Opening Time. That day again. Time come to make more time, to clear away through cobwebbed covered things, all dusty from the dark days undisturbed, to take from upper shelving down the tools and from back walls, long-handled rakes and spades, reel cables, ladders, mowers, saws, and gloves. The first day, always slower than before, regaining practiced rhythm takes a while. Unmissed things rediscovered under trees, a ball, an empty flower pot, a bag of last year's grass. And soon the stride is back, the job is done, and all's packed up inside. With sun still warm and chair in welcome poise, it's time to pull a cork and share a smile. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that poem of opening and a sonnet, no doubt. Good to have a sonnet in our mix today. Thank you, Phil Lynch, and I'm glad the link worked today. We've been doing some shifting things behind the scenes, so I'm glad that it's working out now on the Zoom. Well, next we move come back across the pond over to Max Vandersteen, and then we're going to try to check in with Billy Brown after we hear a poem from Max. So glad to see you today, Max, and I know you've got some events coming up in your area too. I've been seeing them posted. So thank you for posting the events onto our page, and glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with everybody today. Great afternoon in poetry again. I'm so glad you guys are here every week. This poem I would like to share today is, I've chosen it because it kind of adheres to the theme of emergence in a couple of ways. It's a poem that emerged after I read a poem by a poet named Sandra Mooney Ellerbeck. It was included in our Stoll of Poets 2011 anthology. And my poem is called Destiny, who knows? And I followed trails that stopped before they arrived anywhere. Lost myself in what was expected of me, but I find myself again and again within dream invention and time still a sea to sail. So those are the words of Sandra's poem. And the other way that my poem falls into the theme of emergence is that it is kind of about the reemergence of my dreams and identity after retirement and parenting and things like that. So Destiny, my poem goes like this. Through times, I really tried for you and for my sons and sometimes others too. What dubious dreams went undelivered, were detoured, or alas, unconsidered. oft laid aside were things I'd wished to do, though aims nor motives ever were untrue. As love both drove and subdued desires, responsibilities and reactions, provisions, careers, and consequences impelled the subsequent choice of actions. During a life's quest for identity, not often consumed with defining me, destinations of which I keenly dreamed remained more often than not unredeemed. And ambitions in which I had believed continued often to be unachieved. Seemed a servile striver was my destiny. Yet please don't let these words be misconstrued. 'Twas my heart that acted as a pathfinder. These roads I've chosen and no routes are rude. Independence gained through now loosened bonds opens portals and the spirit responds to diversions at one time not eschewed, which now can be spontaneously pursued. Blessed with latitude, happiness, and good health, and contempt for inequities of wealth, 'tis time to amend the search for gainful ends, to write for our rights and equality, explore the exquisite global wonders, and tend to the needs of our humanity. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Max. I love using the idea of emergence as a poem that emerges from another poem. That's just such a beautiful connection and way to interpret the theme. Thank you for bringing that to us today.
My pleasure.
Our next reader, I'm trying to move us along, folks, because we are getting close to the top of the hour. We're going to go back to Billy Brown, followed by Thomas A. Thomas.
Can you hear me okay?
Now we can. Yes. Thank you, Billy. Oh,
This
yeah.
is a photograph of my daughter who emerged 44 years ago into our world, unfortunately to pass through it and away from it when she was 18 years old. I have two short songs. The first is her favorite lullaby, which I made up for her. I won't sing all the many verses, but I'll sing maybe 3 or 4. Can you still hear me? I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. And now it's time for you to go to sleep. Now it's time for you to go to sleep. Now it's time for you to go to sleep. Elizabeth, I love you. My second song is sort of a song of the opposite of emergence. I sing with a male chorus here in Albuquerque, and this song has been the most moving song that we're singing in our concerts at the end of April and the beginning of May. It's called Cherokee Traveler's Greeting. Like a brother of my own blood, I will love you. I will wipe the tears from your eyes. When you are sad, I will put your aching heart to rest. I will draw thorns from your feet. We will walk the white path of life. I will draw thorns from your feet. We will walk the white path together, like a brother of mine own blood. I will love you. I will wipe the tears from your eyes. When you are sad, I will put your aching heart to rest. I will draw thorns from your feet. We will walk the white path of life together, together, together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Billy. That's quite an extraordinary thing that you're doing, singing in the choir. And of course, I'll always never forget your daughter, because you've shared with us you've shared with me so many times, and she's always in my heart. Thank you. Thank you. Well, my friends, we go next to Thomas A. Thomas, followed by Catherine Ronan.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. And thank you for inviting me to read today. I have, word tells me that these two poems are only 258 words. So I think they'll emerge in less than 3 minutes.
They'll emerge in less than 3 minutes.
The first one is the first one I think of mine, about spring and about maybe emerging from seasonal affective disorder, called To a Woman. The suddenness of the sunlight this gray day almost wakes you. Light breaking yellow over the leaves, spreading over rock spaces, yellow on the water sliding down green rock, yellow again, asking for the lemon flames to come out from you, to rise from your shoulders, from under your dark hair. Still, they don't come. The air thickens on your skin, turns blue, and keeps it from his skin, his teeth. This spring comes, these four hawks turning above the suddenness of the clouds. Sun at their center flashes down, yellow light like pollen on your eyelids. Cloud shadows let free the red horses, the black bulls of your hair. Even your fingernails become the yellow of wheat grains or of sunflower petals. So you want to come outside yourself, outside that envelope of air, blue as the blood longing to flow out from your veins. Want to touch these bouquets of trees, the night fog, the moon which comes to you. So, and the next short one is called Storm Song, Just Now. And it emerged from driving home in a storm with some Coltrane on the stereo. Storm Song, Just Now. Driving home in sunshine, thunderhead bears toward the highway and me. Wind drops flashes of dazzle on my windshield. And all I hear is music and you. Saxophone lips that tickle your earlobe. Double bass fingers make soft percussions on your spine. Flute breaths ripple in your throat, and sighs lead guitar notes to float down waist and hips, along my thighs sustained on yours. Then drum rumble, electric reverberation of skin, a rain hiss of brush on snare, and we are song, and I am skyward singing you.
Emergence, emergence, emergence. Wonderful. Thank you, Thomas A. Thomas, and see you on Wednesday for the Olympia Poetry Network's annual, dare I say, we do a reading every year, Dead Poets reading. Yeah, you'll be reading, yes. That'll be Wednesday night. We'll post that on the page if you care to join us. All right, next we hear from Catherine Ronan and followed by Isaac Cohen, and we're getting down to our final readers for today. Thanks for joining us, Catherine.
As they say in Ireland, follow that. So I wrote this poem about the Ukraine situation. It's called Rise. Pull tight the knots of friendship. Pool in memories, dancing free. Before broken teeth lose laughter and veins weep with fires of war. Plant seeds in blood-soaked soil. Strawberries grow sweeter there. Souls in pockets, stones in shoes. Sunflowers know the sun by nature. We will live and love again.
Thank you so much for sharing today, joining us from over in Ireland tonight. And I hope you've had a very good day of emerging today. Well, we now move to Isaac Cohen, followed by Dinah Kudatsky. It's great to have great to have you here, Isaac. Looking forward to the poem.
Dear Don, dear Kim, dear Sandy, have a happy Easter and happy Passover. My poem. To my darling, Yannone Cohen Peltz. Isaac Cohen, the journey of love. In your eyes, I see the love. How can I know this is love? But our eyes reflect simultaneously. We are sailing to paradise. We rest there forever. How marvelous. And Israel, and thank you, all my friends in the world. Thank you, Sandy.
So grateful that you are in the world with us, Isaac Cohen. Thank you for your poem. And so much love today is what I'm really feeling from the readings today. So much love and compassion in these emergence themes today. Well, our next reader is Dinah Kudatsky, followed by Don Krieger. Dinah, it's wonderful to see you.
Thank you. Hi,
Thank you for
everybody.
being
My
here.
first time joining this
know.
group. What a wonderful group this is. Oh, my goodness. So I have two short pieces. And if they're not short, I'll read them quickly, but I think they're short. This one is called A Dream. I dreamed I was saving the world. It was my job. I was self-employed. I had an office with pretty green plants, and I sat behind a desk. I folded my hands and listened patiently to each one who came before me. The line of people waiting to see me was very long. I solved war and poverty and family trouble. I conferred and advised. I was the most important person in the world. I was grave and solemn. My parents looked up to me. They were proud and even a little afraid. Okay. That is one. And the other one, rather different. This one is called The Dead God versus the Living God. With your hand, you make the sign of the cross, quartering yourself with fingers that soon reach for me. Cursing, you invoke the name of the Father. You believe there is a hell after too much pleasure. With my torso, I make the sign of infinity against your mouth. I silence you. There is only this moment, this boundless lotus. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And so glad to have you join us. What an auspicious first day to be with us. And
thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, and I again, the lotus as the lotus as the symbol of emergence. Beautiful, beautiful way to end that poem. Thank you. I look forward to hearing you next time.
Thank you, Sandy.
Your poems. All right, our final two poets today are, of course, we couldn't do this program without these two folks. And I'm grateful, and I hope you get a chance to hear Don Krieger's reading from earlier this week on It's About Time. I was able to join in, and I hope the recording goes up sometime soon if they were recording. It was a great reading, and I'm always grateful to hear a poem from you, Don. Thank you. And then we'll hear from Kim Ports Parsons to close out the reading today.
Thanks, Sandy. Actually, that recording's up and you can find it on my website. I put a link to it. When I think about emergence, I think about discovery. I think about the truth emerging. I'm glad that this isn't the last poem you'll hear today. Psalm 151, a Passover prayer. Once again, your death angel turned away, left us whole, your chosen, terrorized and prayerful for the horror next time. You command, remember, who can forget holiday and self-denial, worship and tyranny, the lies of faith, the firstborn butchered, your people's grace. Two we know defied you, but how many have you really heard? Abraham spoke up for the righteous, Jesus for the sinful cheat, but Moses, the murderer, your darling, spoke only for your vicious caprice. Am I true, kind, good? I judge myself without mercy, but the relentless cycle of slavery and murder we do in your image is humble before your cruel glory. If you truly exist and hear, then hear this. By my poor standards, you are unfit. If I held your might, Almighty God, in that instant, I would erase you and your memory from all that is. If you truly exist and care, then as you did Korah, open the earth and destroy me. For though I claim nothing over Aaron or Moses, I claim goodness over you.
You just heard Don Krieger reading from Discovery. Don always has it on his background. But sometimes I'm fortunate enough to be able to bring the book out because he'll read a poem from it. Today was one of those days. Thank you so much, Don. Our final reader for today, Ports Parsons. Thank you very much for closing us out on our theme of emergence. Emergence. It's been great, hasn't it?
It's been amazing.
Amazing.
Wow, I'm floating in
Floating.
fabulous poetry. This is a very short poem titled Ephemera. Red dawn on the mountain, light filtering bare trees, bloodroot, hepatica, trout lily, fungal blooms waking the ants, match flames of spring. Bees still drowsy with cold, taking first sips, waning moon crossing a window, a kiss before sleep. Sleep itself, or any kiss, or any night, or the mystic lantern of a dream, glowing from core to fingertips, words blading a page, swirling mayflies, a feathery whisper, passing as the heron over the meadow to the pond, wing beats slowing, shifting, lifting, marking a life. I am saying nothing as tenderly as I can. A lily opening on any pond, any lily, a pulse, a pulsar, starlight pouring millennia at a glance. All this rising and falling, all this tunneling the anthills of perception, all of this, sweet sips of here, now, look, this, yes, then gone.
Great. What a great way to end our reading today on the theme
So
of
good to,
emergence.
so
Look,
good to be part of it today.
this. Yes.
Yes.
And then gone. And, you know, emergence has to have the ephemeral with it to be able to exist. Well, I'm so grateful that all of you exist and we're here today sharing your poems on the theme of emergence. We heard today the poetry of Scott Norman Rosenthal, Lenora Good, Yeva Johnson, Harvey Soss, Marcia Karp, Julian Matthews, Lesley Traynor, Larry Kerschner, Kate Wegrzyn, Phil Lynch, Max Vandersteen, Billy Brown, Thomas A. Thomas, Catherine Ronan, Isaac Cohen, Dinah Kudatsky, Don Krieger, and Kim Ports Parsons. Well, it has been a wonderful hour plus, just a few minutes over the hour, letting the hour continue to emerge into the next hour. And again, I'm so grateful to everyone joining us today, reading your poems in our Poets Focus on the theme of emergence here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. We are a group, as you know, of many, many, many poets through our Facebook group, intersectional, intergenerational, international. You've heard the range today. We've been in many places on the globe today. We've touched down and emerged together. It's been fabulous to hear the poetry, whether that's from the evening or the afternoon or wherever you reside. I wish you all a very good week as that continues to emerge. And thank you again for being with us on this time of Easter, of Passover, Ramadan. And I look forward to our next time, our next Sunday together. Keep in mind, we're going to be, get ready to come back on May 1st for our May Day feature. I want to give you just a few tantalizing tidbits of what's up and coming. Our May Day feature, May 1st lands on the Sunday. So we'll have we will have our May Day reading, second annual poems of fertility, labor, however you, the features, choose the theme. And on another reading coming up on May 15th, we'll have the poets from Slate Roof Press. Just a little emergence for you of what's emerging ahead of us here on Cultivating Voice as we get ready to move from April emerge into May. I hope you all have an exceptional week. There's some great programming coming up this week on Michael Anthony Ingram is not here today, but I like to encourage you all to take a listen into quintessential listening. There's very, very special poets this week. And I don't know, maybe Kate, you'd like to give a little promo because I think you know something.
Oh, thank you so much. We did just have, oh yes, that moment. My daughter, Teal Jandrain, is a member of Cultivating Voices, and I did put it on the Cultivating Voices page, and she will be with Michael on Earth Day.
Yeah.
And she just completed in 2021, 365 days, every day, acting, dressing, scene, and doing poetry, to the point where she was like, Mom, I don't know if I could keep going. Oh yeah, of course you can. Get out there in the yard, go on. She'll be good. Thank you so much for allowing. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I wanted to get a little promo in there for you. So,
and anybody that missed Scott, you can look at it up on YouTube. So, yeah.
Yeah, Michael does great work and Scott did great work. And I love listening to that program so much. So thank you, everybody. Well, as I always end the week, before we sign off, I always encourage you to continue to take very good care of yourselves. Take exceptional care of your beloveds. And what better way to keep emerging than to keep writing your miraculous poems. Sandy Yannone.
Thank you.
See you soon. Be well, my friends. Have a great rest of your day, evening.
Thank you, Sandy. Have a
Thank
good
you, Sandy. Bye, everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. You
Well
come back,
done.
Dinah. Dinah, we're